Okay, good evening, guys. I welcome you back to the second part of our Web Development Masterclass. In today's lessons, we are going to see how we can apply CSS to the header form that we created yesterday. What it means is that we are going to bring life to the header form to make it look very beautiful. Now, when we check the header form in our browser, this is how it looks like. Okay, very messy, not looking nice. Now we are going to create this CSS file to make sure that this underline thing will go off. Then the bulletin that you see here will also go off, and the image will be very smaller, nicely at the top as I showed you yesterday. So basically that is what we are going to do today. Okay, so let's move back to our Visual Studio Code. Now we are going to create a new file. Okay, create a new file called style.css. Style.css. Now, if you look at it critically from the index file, as I said, it has sections. And so in designing or creating the CSS files, we are also going to do it in sessions. Okay, we are going to apply the style to each session or each division of what the HTML code that you have written. So let's move back to it. First of all, we need to give the general we need to give a general style for the page. A general style for the page. What it means is that when we open the web browser, okay, when you open our website in the browser, now you see that it is having a full background of white. Okay, so we have to then give a general CSS for the whole page. What background color should it have? What should be the margin? What should be the padding? Okay, then what type of fonts should the text be? Okay, so that's basically what we are going to do first. As I said, I love to give comments to make my code very readable for others. So basically, I'm going to give comments in CSS. The comment is backslash, then star. Okay, then I'll just have to end it with another back star, then backslash. So in between, that is where my text will be. So this is what general style. Okay, general style for the body. Okay, general style for the body. So that is it. Now, first of all, we are applying the style to the body. Let's go back to our code. Now, when we come here, we have the body here. This is the body. Okay, so in order to show that the style is going to be applied to the body, we then need to reference the body. Okay, we need to reference the body in whatever we are going to do in the CSS file that we are going to create. Okay, it's very, very important. Very, very important. So we need to reference, okay, the body. Okay, showing that the style that we are applying should only take effect in the body of the page. Okay, so let's come back to our CSS. So we start with body, then we open our curly brackets or curly braces. Okay, then within the body, okay, we are going to define the font family. Okay, when you say font, you know fonts, normal word essay. Okay, what type of font should the text in our page use? Okay, so we are saying that font family, we are using Papis, okay, and sans serif. That is what we are going to use for the font within the page. Now we are saying that margin, we are taking away all margins. So we are setting the margin to 0. You don't want any margin at all. Okay, you want it to be a full screen. Then padding. Okay, padding is just the spaces around it. Okay, so we're also setting the padding to what? 0. Now, what should be the background color? Okay, the background color, you can choose any color, but I'm going for beige. I'm going for beige. Now, here, if you hover over it, okay, it will give you the RGB colors. Okay, RGB colors, or better still, you can even use the hexadecimal numbers to denote the colors. Okay, to denote the colors. Now I can delete this and use the hexadecimal color, starting with the hashtag, then F4, F4, F4. Okay. Now when I hover over it, it will show me the color is white. Okay, that is what basically what's white. So that is what it means. So you can use any color at all that you want to use. Okay, so let me go back to my page. That is what I want to use. Okay, so we have basically set the body. Okay, we have set the body to this color. Now let me change this color to yellow. Okay, deep yellow. Then I'll come to my index file. I've already done the linking here. Okay, if you want to link, let me delete it. You type link, then the tab key on your keyboard, it will bring you the whole code. Then you reference with stars.css as you see here. Okay, now when I come to my browser, you see that I'm having a different background color compared to the first one that we had. Okay, so that is how we apply color to the whole body of what the page of our website. Let's go back. Let's go back here. Then I don't want this, so let me do page. Okay, so I am done with the body. Now I'm moving straight towards the header style. So let me just copy this comment so that I'll just change what is inside. Now header styles. Okay, I'm now going to apply styles to the header. So when we go back to our code as well, now we have the header. So this style is going to be applied to all the things within the header. Okay, everything in the header. The style is going to be applied to it. Let me bring it because I'm done with the header. So let me close all the good. So the style that I'm going to apply is going to affect every item inside the header. Okay, every item inside the header. How should the whole container look like? That's what I'm going to create. Okay, good. Let's go back to the CSS. Now within the header, I'm going to have a background color. Let me, first of all, I have to bring the header class. Okay, then my curly brackets. Now we say background color. Then the background color, I'm going to use the hexadecimal deep blue. Okay, deep blue. When you choose the color, you see that the hexadecimals are also there. Okay, you see the hexadecimals there. If this way you cannot memorize them, but you cannot memorize them, but you can google it. Okay, so you can google like hexadecimals code, a color code. It will bring you all the colors in the hexadecimals. The color you think is nice for you. You just go and copy the hexadecimal setting and place it in. Now I am going for deep blue. So let me just type deep. You see, I have deep sky blue. I only want deep blue. I don't want deep. You see, and this is the hexadecimal for it. I have done deep blue. Let me close it. Okay, deep blue. So that is the color that I'm using. Okay, for the header section. Now let's go back and see if it has taken effect. Not yet. Okay. It means that there is an issue with how I've specified the color. Okay. Or there's a might know there has a decimal code. So let me use the decimal code that is hash 2A 2A. Then I'm using 72. Okay. 2A72. And that's the deep blue color. Okay, for my header section. Now the next thing I'll do is that I'm doing color. That is color of the text. Okay, color of the text. I'm also doing for what? Color of the text. I'm doing for white. So F. Okay, I'm doing for white for the colors. White for the colors. Good. Now the next thing is I am also going to do padding. Okay, padding is the header is, you know, the header is inside our body container. So we need to give some spaces between the body, okay, and the header for the header container. So I'm doing padding, then I'm doing 10 pixels by 20 pixels. Okay, 10 pixels by 20 pixels. Now the first 10 pixels represent the top, and the next one is what? No, the first one is the left, the next one is the right. You can also do another one for top and down. Okay, so you can have 4 paddings. That is left, right, top, and down. Okay, that is it. So I am done for the header section. Now let's go back. I'm done for the header section. It looks like I'm having one error. Okay, I'm having one error inside my code. You troubleshoot it as you move along. I will look at where the error. Okay, I've seen the error. You see, the good thing about Visual Studio Code is that where the error is, you see a red underline. Okay, red mark underlining it. Let me make it a little bigger. Now, if you check here, there's a red underline here where the error is. Okay, it says that there should be a semi-hot column expected, not a full column. Okay, it should be semicolon, not a full column. Okay, now let's move on. We are done with our error. Okay, we are done with our error. Now let's go to the next thing. Now we need to also define another style for our container. Okay, now when you come to after the header section, our first division has a class called container, and this division also contains everything up to the last. This is the closing tag of the container. Okay, so we are going to also style the container. Okay, so let's come back. Now you're having container. Okay, now let me also explain this one for you to understand it better. Let's go back. Now if you look at the header, it is not a class. Okay, the header here is not a class name. Okay, now if you look at the body, it's also the same thing. So whenever when you are calling that here, okay, we call it direct. Okay, we specify the selector direct without any what element. Okay, now if you go back, now the container here is a class. Now to call a class, okay, in CSS we use dots. Okay, so dots, then the name of the class, that is container. Okay, the name of the class, that is container. So dot container. Okay, dot what? Container. So what are we going to apply to this container? Now we are looking at the display of the container. Remember we said that the header is going to be at the top part, okay? At what? The top part. So we are saying that the display, okay, the display, what should be? It should be flex, okay? It should be flex. Now, flex, what does it mean to be flex? Okay, the container, what does it mean to be flex? Flex is just meaning that we should hold all the items in the container together, okay, to make it easier for us to arrange them, okay. So it's going to arrange these things inside the container side by side, okay. That's why we're using what? The flex. It's going to arrange everything inside that container. Now this is the class container. So everything inside the container, it should be able to help us to arrange them side by side. As I said earlier, the logo is going to be on the left side with the address, and now this is going to be on the right side, okay. So this flex is helping us, going to help us to do that arrangement. Okay, let's go back. Now, what style are you also going to apply again? Now we are done with how it should be. Now the content, okay, the content in that particular container, we want to justify it. As when you type something Microsoft Word, you justify so that all the edges, okay, will line up nicely. So we are going to apply justify content. Justify content. Now we are saying that the justify content, there should be spaces between the content. Okay, there should be spaces between the content. Now we are going to align the items within that container. So align items. How are you going to align them? We are saying that it should be aligned center. You all know what alignment is in Word. Okay. Now when it comes to CSS, you better apply those words knowledge that you gain in Microsoft Word in CSS. Now we are saying that the alignment should be center. You know that center alignment, you have right alignment, you have left alignment, and you have the justify. Okay. So you're saying that it should be centered. Now I am done with the container arrangement. Now the next thing is what? We have the logo side and the address. Now let's start the logo and the address. So I'm going to call it by what? Dot logo. Okay, dot logo. Because when we go back to our index file, now the logo class, the logo division, okay, this section of us, our HTML have a class of logo. So anything that I'm going to apply to here is going to be applied only to this section. Okay, it's going to be applied only to this section. That's the logo and the address. Okay, so let's go back. Now within the logo and the address, what are you going to do? We're also going to look at the display. Okay, we're looking at the display. Then we're also looking at what? You look at also alignment. Okay, then you basically look at what? The direction of the things in it. So first of all, we say display. Okay, display. Now we are saying that it should be flex. You see, when you use flex help us to what make we can use the flex and help us to go to what position the items how we want it. As the word implies flexibility. So you have the flexibility to do anything to what that particular content. Okay. So you're saying that there's a space to be flex. Now we are having a flex direction. Now this flex direction should be columns. When you say columns, it means that it is going to arrange those two items there in columns. Let's go back to our index file. Now we have the address part of the session, then we have the logo part, and we are saying that these two things should be in columns. And you know columns are what? Top. Okay. If you say you should arrange them in rows, it means that it's going to position the image at one side, then the address will follow. Okay, the address will follow. By this time, we're saying that the image should be at the top, the address should be below it. That is what this thing here means. We are saying that the image, okay, should be at the top and the address should be what below it. Now the next thing is align items. Align items. We are saying that you should want to use flex start. Okay, you should use flex start. Align items. You should use the flex what start. So that is basically what it means. Now the flex start is more or less like we're moving all the book towards the left edge. Okay, moving all the content to the left edge. Okay, that's what it means by flex starts. Okay, so once you arrange them in columns, we are now saying that it should align all of them to the left side of our web page. All of them to the left side of our web page. Now let's go back to our web page and see what is happening here. Now if you look at it, you see that the image and the address is on the left side, and it have pushed the navigation towards the right side. Have you seen it? To the right side. Good. It is now taking shape. Okay, it is now taking shape. Just that still the image is big. You will get there. Okay, you will get there very soon. So we are done with the logo side. Okay, we are done with the logo side of the division. Now the next thing is that we now want to look at the image. Okay, the image of the logo. Now let's go back. Now if you come here, we have image, and we are saying that we are going to style this image here. We are styling the image. We are going to look at the size of the image, and we also say that there should be some distance between the image and our address. Okay, between the image and our address. So let's go back to it. Now we are also using the dots. Now logo. What are we going to style? We are styling the image. So we then bring what the image. To bring the image tag. Okay. So we are saying still inside the logo. Okay, then class, then the image. Okay, the logo class and the image. Good. Now let's come and style it. We are saying that there should be the maximum height. Okay, the maximum height of our image should be what? Let's say 60 pixels. You can choose any size that you want. Okay, or let's say 70 pixels. Okay, that is the maximum size of our image. Now we want some margin between the image and the text. So we are saying margin bottom, okay, not top, okay, because if you look at the image at the top and the margin should be below, so it is bottom, okay, bottom. And what should be it? You are saying that it should be basically, let's say 10 pixels, okay, 10 pixels, and that is the style. Let's go back and see what happens. We see that our image is very small, and there's a distance between the image and the address. That is what it means by the margin button. Okay, if you think the margin is too much, you can reduce it. Let's reduce it to, let's say, 5 pixels. Then let's come back. You see that it has reduced. Okay, it has reduced. Good. So that is what we have done to the image side. Now, what about the paragraph? Our address. Now, our address, we want to increase the font size a little, and also we want a little line height. Okay, a little line height. So we say dot logo. Then, because it is a paragraph, we say P. Okay, it is a paragraph, so we say P. So margin, you don't want any margin. Okay, for our how do you call it? Our paragraph. So we say margin, then 0. Okay, the margin is 0. Now we move to the font size. The font size. What should be the font size? Now the font size, let's give it around 15 pixels. 15 pixels. Okay, that's the font size. Now the line height, or not line style, line height. We're saying line height. Okay, so the line height, let's give it like 1.0. Let's give it 1.0. Okay, 1.0. Now it is giving me an error. What is the error here? Line. Okay, but you see that it is list. I've seen it. We are talking about a line, but it is list. So typo error. So you say line height. You see the error is gone. Okay, now let's go back and check it. You see how it looks. Okay, you see how it looks, but it's too closer. So let's increase the bottom margin here to 10. Too closer to the image. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, good. So we are done with our logo. Now the next thing is our navigation menu. The next is our navigation, but that's what is left now. Now in the navigation menu, we are going to what? Let me bring my comments first, so that when someone picks it, you know that this is for the navigation menu. So navigation menu. Okay. Now navigation menu, we are going to what? First of all, apply a general style to all the items in the ordered list. So let's go back so that you see what I'm talking about. Now look at this nav. We are going to first call the nav. Okay, selector. We're going to select the nav. Then we are going to select the sub one. That is what? The unordered list. Okay. It means that the set is going to apply to everything within this unordered list. Okay. Now let me click on it. You see the closing tag here. Okay, so everything between. Okay, that's what the general style will be applied to. So we come here, we say nav. Okay, then on ordered list, then we open our curly brackets. Okay, now first of all, if you check our site, you see that these items here have the bulletin, you have the underline. We don't want this bulletin to be here. Okay, you don't want this bulletin to be here. And therefore, we are going to look at the list style. This is the list. Okay, you're going to look at the list style. So first you say list style. You see what? None. It means that there shouldn't be any list style. Okay, there shouldn't be any list style. Now, the next thing is that margin. Okay, let's look at the margin. We are saying that the margin should be 0. You don't want any margin around it. Now, you don't want any padding around the navigation list because it is combined and all of them are together. So you don't want any padding. If you bring padding, there might be spaces. Okay, there will be spaces between them, which you don't want it. You will give the spaces in the individual list. Okay, spaces in the individual list. That's why we are saying that you don't want any space here. You don't want any padding margin here. Okay, then display. Now the display should be clear so that we can manipulate the items in it. We can manipulate the items in it. Now the next thing is what? Align items. Okay, align items. We are saying that it should be centered. It should be what? Centered. So I am done with this. Now we are then moving to the items within the navigation is the unordered list. Okay, and now moving to items within it. So now first we are calling the main item, the main container navigation, unordered list. This time the list items. Okay, the list items. Now the list items is saying that margin between the list items should be 0. You don't want any margin between the list items. The first margin should be 0. That is it. Now the second one should be 15 pixels. Okay. The second one should be 15 pixels. The second margin should be 15 pixels. So that is basically what we are trying to do here. 15 pixels. Okay. Let's move ahead to the next item within that. Now looking at the position, we say position of the list. Position of what? The list. We are using relatives. Okay, or relative. Okay, position, typo error. Position, typo error. So when I'm typing, be careful, okay? Because a little typo error will end up you messing up everything, and you will be trying to look at where the issue is coming from. Okay, typo error. So we are done with the list items. When you come to this, we have what? Unordered list. Where is it? Let me go there. Good. Our navigation. So this is the main one. Unordered list, within it, we have the list items. Okay, the list items. So we are saying that the list items, the initial margin, okay, should be what? 0. Then the other one should be 15. The initial margin means that margin on the left, okay, should be 0, but margin on the right should be 15. Whereby we are going to have what? Let me go back. You see how it looks like. Okay. Now you see margin here should be 0, but margin between them, okay, should be 15. Between them should be 15. 26. Okay. Good. Now it is taking what? Shape. It is now taking what? Good shape. Let's go back to our CSS. So we are done with that. Now the next thing is that we have links. Now the links have underlines. Okay, there's an underline or the links. Okay, so we have to make sure that those underlines are gone. We don't want to see the underline. Okay, you don't want to see this link color, blue color. You don't want to see it. So that is what we are going to style now. So I'll use my navigation on ordered list, then the list, then the anchor tag. Okay, then the anchor tag. Good. Now we say test decoration. Okay, test decoration. You don't want any test decoration, so you say none, so that it will take away the blue. And then see that the underline is gone. The underline is what? Gone in the initial one. Okay, good. So now we move on to color. What should be the color of the text? Okay, what should be the color of the text? We are going to use white. So FFFF, white. Okay, we're using white. Now when you go back, you see that the color of the text have changed to white very nicely. Okay, let's come back here. Now we want to also give it a little weight. Okay, the text should be a little weight bold. So we say font weight. Okay, the font weight should be what? Bold. When you go to Word, we say what? It is what? Only bold. You call it bold. The font should be bold. But here we're using font weight because the boldness, okay, is attached to the text to make it a little bit thicker. That's why I say weight. Okay. So CSS is saying that the font should have a weight. Okay. make it what thicker and what more black. Okay, thicker and more black. Good. Now we are also going to give some padding. Okay, so padding. Now you say the first one should be 5 pixels. That is the left padding. Then 10 pixels, the right padding. Okay, we need a letter spaces. Okay, now we move to the next one, transition. Transition. The transition here, what it means is that we are given a color whereby when I hover the mouse on each of the menus, okay, it should change color. It should change color. That is transition here. Okay, so you're saying that first one, let's use 0. Let's say 4. Okay, 0.4 means that 0.4 seconds should be the weight, then the color. What should be the color? Okay, the color should be 0.4. Okay, we're using the same thing. That's how we call the time that this color should appear when you put the mouse on it. Let me explain it in that way for you to understand. But you want it to be a background color. Okay, it should be a background color. Okay, it should be a background color. Let me save it. Let's go back and see something here. And now I have the thickness. It is not working because I have not applied the mouse over CSS effects. Okay, I will do that. Then you see the effects of what I was talking about. Okay, so let's go back. We are done with this one. Now let's go to the mouse hover. So now on other list the anchor tag. We are still working with the same anchor tag. By this time, we are going to work with hover. So we say colon hover. Okay, colon hover. So that when the mouse is being placed on it, the hover effect will come. Okay. Now, what should be the background effect when the mouse is hover over it? So I will say background color. Now the background color, let me use which color will make it a little bit good for me to see. Okay, let me use this color here so that we can feel the effect well. Okay. Now the next thing is color. Then let's use blue or deep blue. Let me go up and see dark blue. Let's use dark blue for instance. Oh, dark blue. Now we are also going to look at another thing here, border radius. Okay, border radius. Now what this border radius means is that when you hover the mouse over the menu, okay, it should just bring out a box. Okay, it should bring out a box. Okay, we are going to define a box. If you don't bring this how do you call it, border radius, you will not see the effects well. Okay, so you are saying border radius should be 5 pixels. Okay, should be 5 pixels. Now let's go back and see. Now when I hover over it, you see that I'm having a rectangular, okay, on it with the word a border radius as I specify. Okay, that is what I mean. Now when you hover over it, the color just changes. That's the background color that we give it. Okay, the background color that we give to it. So we are done with this one. Now we are left with the drop down. Okay, we are left with the drop down items. We are going to now style the drop down items. So let me just copy my comments. So this is, I will say, drop down menu section. Okay, good. Now with the drop down menu section, okay, we are now going to call the content. We are going to call the class's name. Let me go back and show you. Where is that drop down? Look, good. We have drop down content. Okay, drop down what content. But don't forget that this list also have a main class of what drop down. So you now reference the main class, then the subclass here for the unordered list. Okay, the subclass for the unordered list. So let's go back. So dot drop down, then dot drop down content. Okay, so dot drop down, that is the main one here. Then the second one is drop down content. Okay, now let's come. The display, we are saying display. This time we are not using flex. Okay, the display should give us none. Okay, the display should be what? None. Now position. Okay, position. You have to look at where should it be positioned. Now the position we are using absolute. Okay, we are using absolute for the position. I will explain them finish. I will explain them one by one. Okay. Now we are also looking at what should be the top. We're saying the top should be 100%. This time we're not using places 100%, so that whenever it changes screen sizes, it can then take the percent to the side of the screen and fit it very well. Now we are saying the left. Okay, the left margin should be 0. That's only 0. Okay, it should be 0. I'm having an error, which is 2 errors. I'm having 2 errors here. Don't worry about it. You will troubleshoot it very soon as we move along. Okay, you will look at why we are having that. Okay, why we are having that error. Let's use some spaces between them. Okay, so why are the error coming? You look at it. Let's go on. Then you troubleshoot the error soon. Now we want to have a very nice background color when it drops. Okay, remember it's a drop down, so when it drops down and you move along it, you should have some color, a background color. So we say background color. Let's use this same color here. Let's use this same color here for it. Okay, the same color. Okay, now the reason why we're having this error is that each of the code, okay, should basically end with a semicolon. Every line of code should end with a semicolon. But here there was no semicolon, so it is assuming that all of these ones are one particular command. Okay, and that's why we're having issues, errors here and here. Okay, so just bring the semicolon. The errors are gone. Now the next thing is that you also want a border region, so that when you hover the mouse over it, you have that rectangular box around it. So we are saying border radius, and the border radius should be 5 pixels. 5 pixels. 5 pixels, very nice one. Now we want a little drop down shadow. Okay, we want a little shadow around that border radius. So we are going to say that box.shadow it should give us 0, then 4 pixels, okay, then 8 pixels, then it should give us some color, okay. What color is going to use? Let's say black. Let's say black, okay. You're using black, for example. Now you may ask about these things. As I said, I'll explain them, okay. I'll come back and explain why we are having this 0, 4, and 8 and other things, okay. I'll come back and explain them. Now, we're also going to look at the Z index. The Z index, we are setting it to, let's say, 1000. Now, the next one is the listing style. How should I list it? We are saying none. We don't want any listing style. Okay, we don't want any listing style. Then there should be some padding between them. So 10 pixels and 0. 10 pixels and 0. So we are done with the first one here. Now let me go back and explain some of the content for you. Okay, let me explain some of the content for you to get the whole analogy of what I've done here. Very, very, very clear for you to understand it. Okay, now what have you done so far? We are basically looking at the drop down content. Okay, now first I was explaining the display. We're saying that the display should be none. Okay, it should be none. You don't want any, you don't want to apply any display. And the position should be absolute. Okay, position should be what? Absolute. Why are we saying the position should be absolute? Absolute in the sense that we don't want it to either be on the left, on the side, or this. It should be absolute to the main content. So it's going to pick that of the main content. When I mean the main content, it should just display under the services. Okay, under the services. You don't want it to go beyond the services, any other place, but under the services. So it should be absolute to the main content. Now we are saying that it should be what? 100%. Okay, 100%. So what it means is that it is going to specify how far those absolute positions should be. So the other position is 100% to the services. Okay, not if you specify like 80, 70, it's going to drop down a little from the services, but you want it to stick 100% absolute to the services. Okay, on the left, you don't want to go to the left. Okay, on the left, when you specify the left, it will shift a little from the services. Okay, it will shift the point towards a little from the services. You don't want to, you say 0. Now the background color, you say you should use the green color here, the light green color here. Then the border radius, you say should be 5. Then you're looking at what? The box shadow. In Microsoft Word, if you remember, okay, in Microsoft Word, when you draw a shape, you're able to give it what? A shadow. Okay, then the shadow have 4 areas. You have left, you have right, you have the top, and the down. Okay, so you're saying that the left, you don't want any shadow on the left, but on the right, there should be 4 pixels. Then down should be 8. You don't want any shadow on top. That's what it means. And it should be black color. Okay, it should be what? Black color. Now we are saying that for the indexing, okay, the content should stick to the box. The content should stick to the box. Okay, so we say for a position box, the Z index property specify the stack level of the box in the current stacking content and whether the box established a local stacking of contents. So we're saying that the box, the content should stick within that particular box. Okay, it should stick within that particular box. Then the listing style, we are saying that none. You don't want to give a list to those items, the drop down items, and the padding should be 10 on the left, okay, by 0 on the right, okay, 0 on the right. Good. So that is it. Now let's move to the last but not the least part of our lecture for today. Okay, lecture for today. Now we are going to look at the last part. Okay, the last but not the least. Okay, now we are also looking at the hover aspect as well. So we are saying that dot drop down, then the hover that we defined at the top. Okay, we are going to now make it should be a block. Okay, so hover, then dot drop down content. What should it be? We are saying that the display should be in a block form. A block form is that it's going to display all of them once. Okay, when you hover, it should display all of them at once. So in a block form. Okay, then the next thing is margins for the content. So dot drop down, dot the drop down content, then the list. Okay, the list items in it. We are saying that the margin should be 0. You don't want any padding, should be 0. So they are all going to stick together. You don't want any spaces in between the drop down lists. Okay, then drop down, the drop down content again, then the list, then the anchor tag. Okay, remember they are all links. Okay, the anchor tag. Good. What are you going to do? We are saying that the display for that should also be what block. Now padding, we are saying that it should be 10 pixels against 20 pixels. Now color, what should be the color? Let's give it white. Let's give it white. Now you don't want any white spaces. When you give it white, because you have allowed paddings here, there will be white spaces in between the lists, but you don't want those white spaces. So we are saying that white spaces, then now wrap. Okay, white spaces, now wrap. So this will make sure that those white spaces will not show. Good. The last dot drop down, then dot drop down content, then the list, the anchor tag, then the hover. Okay, the hover. Let's also style it. Now you are given a background of white. When I'm done, you will see the effect of what I just did here. Okay, now the color, let's give it this color here. Oh no, don't calculate the color. Don't calculate the color. You know the color that you want to use. Okay, now border radius. Border radius. We are saying 0. You don't want any border radius. Okay, good. Now let's go back to our page. Now we have a very nice page here. Okay, now here you see that we have the green. Okay, very nice one. But the green and the white doesn't match. Okay, it doesn't match at all. So let's change this one. let's use blue and see how it will look like. Now let me go to the top one. Blog white. Now let me change it from here. So I want blue. Let me see. Good. So I want it to go blue like this so that I can see them clear. Okay. So basically that is what we have done. We have been able to style our header very nicely. Okay. Very nicely. So this brings us to the end of our class for today. Okay. Our class for today. If you don't understand anything, okay, you can put it in the WhatsApp channel, then I'll explain it for you. Okay. Don't use the same colors that I've used. You can change the colors. You can play around them. Okay. You can play around them. It will not destroy anything. Just play around them to know that what each of them does. So thank you very much. Next time I will add a little of it. Okay. If you want it to be responsive, okay, responsiveness, I'll add it later on so that you know what it also means that when this thing is being open on any device, okay, on any device, how should it be? Okay, how should it display on the device? So I'll talk about it that one later tomorrow. Okay. So thank you very much for watching. Make sure you keep practicing as I always say. Practice makes a man perfect. So make sure you keep practicing whatever I'm teaching you. Thank you very much and see you tomorrow.